we're coming from a country that nobody's ever heard of, and nobody's ever associated it with wines. So that's a real negative. On the other hand, it creates a great story, you know. It's the country you never heard of, which is the country where winemaking started, basically. And when you add in that many of the well-known grapes in the West, in Europe and the West, are the genetic ancestors of Armenian natural grapes, it starts to build a story that then maybe it's not such a negative that you've never been heard of and you're new on the market.
Being an entrepreneur to start a company takes a certain amount of risk tolerance. But being an entrepreneur who wants to change the path of an entire country, it takes a bit of insanity and a lot of genius.
Tufenkian Rugs is a worldwide brand. I mean, everybody knows. It's in all the magazines. And how did that happen?
Well, I mean, that was actually the reason why the business was successful is that it was a new paradigm for the rug business. I mean, the rug business hadn't changed in 500 years. Somebody over in America would go to a producing country and buy what they always had made, you know, and if they made red and blue rugs, they would buy red and blue rugs and bring it back. It didn't matter if nobody was interested in decorating with red and blue. So when interior designers became a big factor in interiors, they wanted the colors that they wanted. And so I started my business to use all of the old techniques, the integrity of an antique rug in a new rug that was designed and colored according to the market. And that hadn't been done. And then pairing a brand, that was the other thing. There really were no brands in the handmade rug business until then.
Wow, that's still building a brand is, in any industry, is tough. I mean, it takes ingenuity and confidence to go out there and do that. Oh, thank you.
It was a little crazy.
But was it always in the back of your head, like, I'm going to produce jobs in Armenia? That's the ultimate thing.
That was the starting point, yeah. I mean, I was making plenty of money on the rug business otherwise, and the rug business here was to produce jobs, and a big part of it too was to try and make something great from Armenia. So, I mean, me and a bunch of other people that came here in those early days had the idea, you know, we're starting fresh in Armenia. We have our old history, but Soviet Union wiped all that away. We were thinking Armenia should become a center of excellence, and that the consumer products we produced to the world and exported should be known for being really high levels, of course.
Any silk?
No. All indigenous Armenian wool. When people see a carpet, they don't have any idea what went into it. You're just looking colors and designs, and you don't know that was composed one knot at a time.
It's unbelievable.
By hand. Yeah.
I mean, in their hands. Look how fast they are.
That is the process. You can see how professional these women are. They're so fast.
And so how do you find the quality of this?
We've got a structure now of people in the countryside that do the buying every year for the quality that we need.
Wow. You could say it's a lost art, but it's not a lost art. You know, that's the part we didn't talk about, really, what you're working on too. This is the experiential part of the revival, and wine is going back to the experiential part. Here's my latest thought process. Next to food and language, what are the cultural things that can be expressed to another culture? In other words, what can we, besides the language of our Armenian language and the Armenian food, what other product is there that you can take around the world and say, this is our culture?
Well, what better than wine?
This wine. To me, anyway, wine is one of the greatest cultural expressions that you can do with, right? Food, language, and wine. You can take wine anywhere you want, plop it on the table, and say, this is who we were, right? Or who we are.
Yep.
So is that the intriguing part of why you got into this? Because you know it's not easy to do, but it seems like a cultural event for you to do.
Yeah, I mean, all of what I've been doing here is trying to connect with what's authentically Armenian. And winemaking is definitely authentically Armenian. So yeah, that had a big part in it. I also just really always wanted to be a farmer.
But wine is farming, right? I mean, it is an expression of the land, or it should be an expression of the land. So you came across this idea that you're going to create a Tufenkian brand of wine. And it's not just wine, you have a specific style you're looking for.
In the wine?
Yes.
Food tells us who people are. Language tells us how they think. But wine tells you about their sense of place and their sense of time.
Well, look, I want to make really, really good wine. I'm shooting for a very high mark. And I have partners who are from Alsace in France, and they happen to be pioneers in biodynamic farming in the wine business and natural winemaking, which after I looked into it, it turns out to be kind of the wave for even the big not big brands, the famous, the very high-end wines there are all kind of going or have already gone in that direction. So that was kind of a starting point for achieving a really high level of wine. And I didn't want to do something if it wasn't going to be exceptional, so.
Is there a certification in Armenia for those two thoughts, organic or three thoughts, natural, organic, and?
No, well, for natural for organic there is, for biodynamic and natural not.
Does the organic follow the European?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a European certifying agency. No, this is all from our. So my vineyard is, we bought about 80 acres, 35 hectares of former vineyard land, which had been mostly cleared. Had been abandoned for many years, and there was about 2.5 hectares of very old vines that had been abandoned, and we basically brought them back to life. And there's, I think, something special about the fact that they survived without attention for many, many years, and are producing really wonderful grapes and flavors.
How did you stumble across a vineyard like that? Because that's a dream to old vines that are not only old, but they've survived, which means their roots are pretty deep.
Yeah,
they're looking for stuff.
They fought hard to live. That's what you want in the wine business. Well, it was on my 35 hectares is comprised of, I think it was 93 parcels that one of my managers accumulated.
Really?
We bought 93 parcels and unified them. Yeah.
And with these cognac, you can see that this is unfiltered and fine, but you know, the complexity has completely exposed itself after it warmed up a little bit.
You're getting it, huh?
Oh, it's incredible. And the acid structure is amazing. And this is the field blend?
Yeah, from the old vines, organic old vines. And it scares me. I mean, I'm of course a novice at this, but I have really good people working for me and with me. But the whole marketing side really scares me, just because, I mean, I don't have to tell you, when you walk into a wine store and you see thousands of bottles on the shelves, and it's like, how do people normally walk in and buy something, you know?
If you're gonna if you're gonna slug it out in the trenches with what's out there, you have to have Merlot, Cabernet, Malbec, whatever you're gonna blend, Bordeaux style, whatever you're gonna do, that people would recognize. And you know, the early French imports, they realized that they're gonna, I'm talking about the regular tier pricing, that they can't put Burgundy Blanc, and they can't put Burgundy Rouge, and they can't put Bordeaux on the label. They have to put Cabernet, and they have to put Pinot Noir and Chardonnay for the Americans to understand. I'm only taking the Americans because it's a large market and everybody wants to be there. What are the markets for Tufenkian right now? Is it mostly here in Armenia?
Yeah, we're just starting to hit the market. I mean, so right now it's just Armenia. We're getting ready to set up in US and Europe. Yeah, my French partners will take care of European distribution. And,
This is the part that scares you.
Totally. I get uncomfortable just talking about it. And I know it sounds hard to believe because I'm actually not a beginner businessman.
Yeah,
when I started
exactly,
this.
yes.
I jumped into it based on financial projections that were like coming out of a couple of conversations with somebody early on. And when we bought the vineyards and started planting and everything, and I actually sat down with my finance manager and did a 5-year business plan and saw what the investment was going to be. It just like floored me. I had no idea until we did that. So that was first headwind.
That's like the first bid when you bid out a project like this. You go, wait a minute, I was not expecting to spend that much money on construction.
Yeah, really, exactly. Yeah.
So has it tempered a little bit, or you're still sort of
yeah, I'm kind of used to that, but again, we're getting to that point where not only business but my nonprofit world is like taken over, and I tell my winemaker constantly, who's just a fantastic winemaker and a fantastic person, Zara. Yeah. I tell her, Zara, this is my fun business. I call her and I say, Zara, I need to have some fun.
Yeah, make some fun.
Let's talk about the wine business.
No pressure, just make it fun, will you?
Really.
She's very sweet. She's very talented.
Biodynamic thing. I mean, there is definitely an aspect of love of the soil when you do biodynamics. People always ask me, what's the difference between biodynamic and organic? And I just say very simply, organic is not using chemicals. And biodynamic is all about restoring the life in the soil. And often in the soil, using commercial farming, it's all about killing everything that's there and just artificially adding whatever is needed.
That's exactly right.
So it's kind of an expression of my love for the country to be treating the soil in this way and really helping to restore it. And knowing that makes for stronger vines and more pest-resistant vines and hopefully better and more interesting wine too.
Well, can I make you feel a little better then? Because it would have cost you a lot of money to...
James didn't come here to sell souvenirs. He came here to build something worthy of the name Armenia. Something that would travel across the world and still feel true.
This really is special.
Yeah.
You could give this to a Chardonnay drinker and they'd go, what is this?
Really?
Yeah.